Departure on the Xunyang River with Pipa Performance. Bai Juyi. A night by Xunyang River, I saw off guests. In autumn wind, maple leaves and silvergrass shake their heads. Dismounting the horse and boarding the boat, we found no music to help the drink. Soaked in sadness and ready to depart, we saw a pale moon immersed in the river far. A pipa sound came clear over the water. Enchanted by it, we forgot to part. Seeking the sound and asking who was playing, we sensed the player stopped, hesitating to respond. Approaching her boat to invite her over, we added stuff to restart the dinner. Called 1,000 times until she slowly appeared. She hid half of her face with her pipa. The streams plucked for a few times, the feelings were excluded before the tune was formed. There was bitterness and thinking in each sound, telling the misfortunes her life long. Her head lowered and her fingers danced. She said everything with pipa sound. Slowly she touched and plucked the strings, turning them up and down. She played Ni Chang first, and then Liu Yao. The thick strings roared like storms into the distance, and the fine strings whispered gently into our ears. The sounds took turns to enter our soul, like the beads falling onto the plate, big or small. We heard a warble slipping away from under the flower, and the spring choking in its flow beneath the eyes. Like the water, the sound froze. As the flow ceased, the music died. Senses of sadness and hatred spread in the air. Beating the music should be the silence. The crack of a bottle was suddenly heard. The burst of water followed by the clashes of war. The lady ended her piece with a central sweep. The sound coming out like silk was torn. All voyagers on the river were listening quietly. The pale autumn moon soaked in the middle of the river. Sliding the plectron between the streams, she rose with a composed look after smoothing out her dress. She said, "I come from the imperial city, and Hamaling was where I lived. Mastering pipa at the age of 13, I ranked among the top of the court's musicians. I have been admired by great masters for my performance, and envied by my peers for my look. The young nobles in the capital vied to pay me tributes, and my performance has won me countless gifts. My silver comb was damaged, beating time in performance. My rosy dress stained by wine in banquets. Time of happiness flew quickly, like the seasons that came with beauty. My brother left for war, and the mother died. My age increased, and my beauty left. With my place forgotten and my youth gone, marrying a merchant was the only option that came along. The merchant put business before his wife. Leaving me for trade 2 months ago, I have been waiting alone in my empty boat. Bathed in the moonlight, I feel the water cold. I woke up from dreams of the past, tears of regret streaming from my heart. I have been saddened by the pipa, The lady's words were now tearing me apart. We are both unfavored in this world. It doesn't take an acquaintance for us to meet. I left the capital last year, demoted to Xunyang, where I rest in sickness. Xunyang is such a remote town. I hear no music all the year round. Living on a low and damp ground near Panjiang, I see reeds and bitter bamboo grow around. What do I hear in the day? The weeping of cuckoos and the moaning of apes. On the spring mornings when flowers bloom, or the autumn nights bathed by the moon. Besides the river, I can drink with whom? Aren't there any folk songs? The singing around here is hard to hear. What a pleasure to hear you play. The music from heaven pleases my ears. Please stay and play another piece. I could write you a poem out of this. Moved by my words, she stood long. Seating herself, she made the pipa sound. The music was sadder than the previous sounds, leaving the audience weeping on. Guess who shed the most tears? My blue robe was all wet.